welcome to another episode of Untold Legends, where we explore the stories found within the world of video games, movies, comics, and anything in between. Today we're visiting the universe of Star Wars and focusing on the character of Darth Vader, once known as Anakin Skywalker, the greatest Jedi Knight, poster boy of the Clone Wars and shining beacon of hope for the Republic, tragically falling to the dark side of the Force at the end of the Clone Wars. Anakin Skywalker was reborn as Darth Vader, doomed to spend the rest of his days as a monster, trapped away in an uncomfortable suit of armor, only able to survive outside of it while submerged inside a specialized medical tank, his new state of living after the injuries inflicted on him by his old master Obi-Wan Kenobi. During his battle with Obi-Wan, Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber was lost in combat, and in time, Darth Vader constructed its replacement, an iconic weapon featuring a black ridged hand grip and a crimson saber emitting from within. But the most recognizable weapon of Darth Vader was actually his second lightsaber. This tale tells the current canon story of his first lightsaber, picking up just at the end of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, just after the construction of his suit.
Where is Padme? Is she safe? Is she all right?
It seems in your anger, you killed her.
I couldn't have. She was alive. I felt it.
Darth Vader collapsed in his grief after the realization that he was responsible for the death of his wife. He reached out through the Force and attacked his new master. The man that had been a close friend and mentor since he joined the Jedi Knights as a child had lied to him. Palpatine promised that Padme could be saved, and now Vader could see clearly through his lies. Palpatine unleashed a flow of Force lightning and tortured his new, untested apprentice for daring to touch him with the Force, and took the opportunity to teach Vader his first lesson. He demanded that Vader pick up his lightsaber and defend himself, and Vader responded that it was lost in the fight with Obi-Wan. No, that lightsaber belonged to the Jedi, Anakin Skywalker. Vader needed to learn to separate himself from his previous life as a Jedi Knight. The Jedi Anakin Skywalker was no more, destroyed by the Sith Lord, Darth Vader, and the Sith Lord needed a weapon of their own, a blade of crimson fury and anger. Just outside, Masamida, Grand Vizier of the new Galactic Empire, celebrated the end of the Clone Wars and broadcasted his message to the entire galaxy, justifying the downfall of the Jedi, and labeled them as part of the separatist movement that fueled the Clone Wars. In a public celebration, the lightsabers collected from the dead Jedi, destroyed during Order 66, were gathered and placed into a furnace hot enough to destroy the weapons, while Vader and Palpatine watched from above. The Emperor explained the meaning behind the Sith's red lightsaber blade. Darth Vader explained how Jedi teachings on such subjects were incomplete, but in reality the Jedi hid away the secrets of many dark side teachings. A Sith lightsaber was no different than a Jedi's, with the exception of the kyber crystal inside of it. The crystals were alive in their own way through the Force, and a Sith could infuse all their anger and suffering inside the crystal, essentially making it bleed, and emitting the red light, the color representing a Sith's rage. Palpatine could have given Vader any of the lightsabers being destroyed below, but the saber of a Sith is not given, it is taken and corrupted. After Order 66, few Jedi remained in the galaxy, but survivors were out there, many in hiding, and Vader needed to set out to find one alone. His first stop was a planet found in the mid-rim territory of the galaxy. Palpatine had a vehicle brought to that location for Vader's personal use, but it was stolen by scavengers. Nonetheless, Darth Vader's mission remained unchanged, and the dark side would provide everything he needed. Vader set out alone through the desert in order to find his ship, and the scavengers that stole it proudly looked upon their find. Although they couldn't get past the ship's encryption, it could still snag them a large amount of credits. At that moment, a heavy piece of salvage slammed into one of them with incredible force. Vader had found his ship and proclaimed it as his property. At this point, Darth Vader was unknown to the galaxy as a whole, and the scavengers looked upon this mechanical creature in terror. They assembled and opened fire. Darth Vader leaped into the air and attacked. Even without a lightsaber, he was still incredibly deadly, using the Force to send shrapnel through the bodies of these thieves. But he was still becoming accustomed to life in his new suit, a purposefully designed heavy and cumbersome attachment to his body. Gone were the days of fast, agile Jedi warrior. Vader had to adjust his battle tactics permanently, and since Sith derived much of their power from their own anger, even the mechanical portions of the suit were designed to transmit feedback into physical pain, something Darth Vader experienced when a blaster bolt hit his armor. Enraged by being hit, he pushed the attacker off the cliff and unleashed his rage on the rest of them, slamming them into nearby walls with full force, the remainder begging for their lives, asking Vader what he wanted. With a quick snap of the neck, the attack was finished, and Darth Vader remained standing, with his new ship in his possession. As Palpatine had predicted, the dark side of the Force gave Vader everything he needed. It was time to discover the location of a surviving Jedi. A nearby outpost, known as Brightholme, served as a repository of Jedi information during the days of the Republic, and contained a databank filled with information the Jedi recorded. During these early days of the Galactic Empire, a detachment of clone troopers were assigned to Brightholme, and ARC 170 starfighters provided security just outside. The Empire was planning to decommission the use of clones in favor of an army of willing recruits instead. Clones were being quickly relegated to menial jobs such as collecting Jedi artifacts and cataloging the Jedi records on board. Tasks that left many clones bored. No longer the glorious Grand Army of the Republic. One clone trooper called Ding found a Jedi lightsaber, igniting it in amusement to entertain fellow clone trooper Kicker. Both clones had higher aspirations and heard the story of the Camino clone factories being shut down. They were concerned over what that meant for all their clone brothers, but good soldiers follow orders, and their orders were to man this station. Soon enough, their boring assignment would become much more exciting and much more dangerous. Darth Vader located the station and knew it was the easiest way to find the records of any Jedi that may have survived Order 66. The clone pilots protecting the station issued a warning. Vader's presence wasn't authorized. If he didn't change course immediately, he would be fired upon. The droid on board Vader's ship had the docking codes for the station, which would give him authorization to board without any conflict. But Vader was now a Dark Lord of the Sith. Any threat issued his direction would be answered back with lethal force. He activated his weapon systems and fired on the clone pilots. Without hesitation, the clones fired back, excited that they were finally in another battle, but they had no idea who their current foe was. Anakin Skywalker was one of the best starfighter pilots in the entire galaxy, and those skills translated perfectly to Darth Vader. Skills unhindered by his new suit. Vader could sense their pain and fear as he destroyed them, and the troopers rushed to the hangar bay after seeing such raw skill being displayed. This mysterious pilot was an enormous threat. Ding and Kicker joined the group waiting for Vader to appear, guns drawn and ready. They believed if they took down this threat and proved themselves, perhaps the Emperor would keep the clones around. Perhaps Ding and Kicker would even be promoted into the Imperial Royal Guard. Dreams that stood no chance against the threat of Vader. The door crumbled behind him, and the clones opened fire. During the Clone Wars, Anakin was used to being faced with large groups of enemies, droids firing on him relentlessly, but he had his lightsaber then, and once again his suit restricted his movements, causing him to take an injury to the shoulder. He felt the sharp pain from the blast sear through, and ducked under cover while slamming the troopers against the wall. Clones were no droids. They were professional soldiers bred for war, responsible for taking down the majority of the Jedi Knights. They presented a genuine threat, and Vader continued smashing through them. Vader noticed the lightsabers present in the station, and he collected one, igniting its green blade, and the clones realized they were up against a Jedi survivor. Now Vader had the advantage, rushing towards the group effortlessly, slashing through their armor. The remaining clones screaming in pain as they were decimated, while attempting to fall back and regroup elsewhere. With the battle over for now, Darth Vader dropped the borrowed weapon, remembering his master's teaching. A Sith lightsaber has to be taken from a Jedi. Darth Vader found the station's main computer, the databank that held an archive containing a record of Jedi assignments before Order 66. The simplest way to find a Jedi survivor was to locate one that took the Barash vow prior to Order 66. The Barash vow was an oath taken by Jedi willingly, to refrain from any activities related to the Jedi Order, often exiling themselves to study and serve the Force directly. While searching the records, Darth Vader was ambushed by Ding and Kicker. They threw an explosive at him, and he was forced to hold it in place to keep it from detonating, while the other hand was free of a lightsaber. Ding and Kicker believed they had the Jedi at their mercy, threatening to take him as a prisoner directly to the Emperor, and they would surely be rewarded for such an impressive feat. While a Jedi may have fallen victim to their ambush, refusing to kill indiscriminately, a Dark Lord of the Sith had no such limitations. Darth Vader made it clear he was no Jedi. He cut off their ability to breathe with the Force and snapped Kicker and Ding's necks. Vader held the explosive in place and left the station just after allowing it to explode. He had the information he needed. A Jedi that took the Barash vow had been on a pilgrimage since before Anakin Skywalker joined the Jedi. Since he wasn't active in Jedi affairs, he could have easily survived Order 66. Jedi Master Kirok Infil'a. When he was part of the Jedi Order, he didn't take part in diplomacy, training, or research, as many Jedi did. His one area of expertise was purely combat. Kirok was a skilled warrior, immensely powerful with a lightsaber, and spent his days studying the Force and perfecting his craft with a training droid. Taking his lightsaber would not be an easy task for Darth Vader. The Sith Lord tracked his location to the river moon of Elim, but the Jedi Master could feel the darkness approaching and launched obstacles at Vader's ship, damaging his thrusters and forcing him to land. Vader exited his ship and faced Kirok. This Jedi was strong with the Force and slammed an enormous piece of concrete to close Vader in. He could feel the intense darkness emanating from Vader and questioned if it was him. Although he was unaware of the details behind Order 66, as the Jedi died around the galaxy simultaneously after the betrayal of their clones, Kirok could feel their deaths. He suspected the monster that stood before him was responsible. Immediately, Darth Vader reached out with the Force and attempted to choke him, but such a skill wouldn't work so easily. Kirok pushed back, and Darth Vader slipped across the ground. He demanded to know if Vader was the one responsible for destroying the Jedi, and he answered with a simple yes, also confirming that he was there to end him as well, exactly as Kirok hoped. He took the Barash vow in order to live alone within the Force until his path was made clear to him. Once he felt the destruction of his Jedi brothers and sisters, he waited patiently, refusing to run, waiting for the destroyer of the Jedi to show himself. He declared his Barash vow complete and promised to destroy Vader for what he did. What Vader didn't know is that the Jedi Master had traps ready and waiting for his arrival. He stood atop the Pass Val Mountain, a sacred mountain designed to test the skills of Jedi. The higher a Jedi climbed, the more demanding the challenges would become. Master Kirok opened the doors to a nearby dam. The water came splashing at high speed, and the overwhelming force of the sudden surge sent him plummeting into the wall. The pressure of the water was quickly crushing him, but the Jedi was too close for Vader to fail. He had to succeed and prove himself worthy of the Sith Lord title to his master. Vader parted the waters and began the climb to the mountain summit where Kirok would test him. As Vader made his way up, while being attacked by a flock of Raptorans, stone-like birds native to the region, Vader found himself surrounded and struggled against their attack, but the dark side of the Force was his ally. During the battle, Kirok watched and attempted to figure out exactly what Darth Vader was. Was he Sith? Or simply some sort of cybernetic monster? The answers weren't yet quite clear, but he could feel the cold and darkness coming from within, as if when the Jedi died, Darth Vader absorbed all their pain within himself. Kirok's training droid explained that Sith typically carry red lightsabers according to Jedi teaching, but Vader carried no such weapon, and the Jedi Master had an opportunity to activate a trap and bring the bridge that Vader was on crashing down, but Kirok ordered his droid to allow Vader's passage. He wanted the glory of bringing Darth Vader to justice himself. During his climb, Vader's suit had already begun taking damage. His left mechanical leg was completely exposed, and Kirok taunted him to continue climbing to the top of the stairs. How dare a Jedi look down on Vader as if he were weak? With his rage, Vader launched a rock, and the Jedi failed to dodge it in time. Kirok's loyal training droid leaped in to defend his owner from this dark side invader, but Darth Vader feared no droid after spending years fighting scores of them. And with the droid's attack, Vader found the opportunity to claim a weapon. He tore the droid's arm from its body and armed himself with its electro saber, a weapon with the ability to deflect lightsaber strikes. Now Vader would be on more even ground with the Jedi. Both Force users clashed and struggled to gain the upper hand. Vader was losing his strength quickly, however. His mechanical leg was giving in to the pressure of the battle, and Kirok was amazed that Vader was able to destroy the Jedi on his own. No, he must have been a pawn, a weapon. There had to be a master behind Vader. Ultimately, Vader's mechanical leg collapsed, leaving him at the Jedi's mercy. Kirok believed Vader was just the distraction in his way. Once Vader was dead, he would seek out and destroy the true threat, whoever sent him there. With a powerful push with the Force, Vader was sent plummeting into the canyon below, landing painfully on a rock. The pain he suffered was incredible. His wounds from the battle with Obi-Wan would never properly heal, and his burned skin could still feel the pain from physical contact. Kirok's droid taunted Vader with his defeat, but the pain Vader currently felt was nothing compared to the pain of losing his wife and being consumed by the fires of Mustafar. His determination knew no bounds. He had no chance against the Jedi in his current condition, and a direct battle with weapons was suicide. In order to ensure victory, Darth Vader would have to fight like a Sith. He tore the training droid apart with the Force and melded together any parts that he could into the framework of his cybernetic body, just enough to hold himself up and move. Meanwhile, believing Darth Vader was destroyed, Kyrak returned to the people of Ambalar City, where he was staying. The Jedi planned to finally leave the world that he made his home for such a long time and take the fight to the heart of the new Empire. But a local StarCraft mechanic was working on his Jedi starfighter and preparing it for flight. While the mechanic worked on his ship, he spoke of his plans for the future. The Jedi Order was devastated, and this world would be the perfect place for him to begin rebuilding it. But suddenly he felt the same cold darkness from before. He rushed outside and discovered Vader was still impossibly alive. The creature stood at the top of the dam defiantly, inviting the Jedi Master for one final battle. Now the Jedi was vulnerable. The people he cared for were in the immediate area. Innocent beings that had nothing to do with their conflict. A Jedi weakness that Darth Vader knew all too well. It was time to end the threat. Kyrak ignited his saber and pounced towards the Dark Lord, immediately striking him. Vader was weaker than before, barely holding together with the new parts he scrapped together from the droid. The Jedi didn't understand why Vader didn't simply flee when he had the chance, and now Vader would fight as a Sith. Law enforcement from the local city appeared, demanding that the two cease their fight. They were standing on critical infrastructure of the city. Immediately seeing this opportunity, Vader grabbed them, much to Kyrak's horror. A Jedi's role was to serve the Force and protect the innocent. He pleaded with Vader to let them go, and Vader knew that he now had the high ground. The limitations of the Jedi held him back in his previous life, and now he had the freedom to do what was necessary. He tossed them to their deaths, and Kyrak immediately gave in to his Jedi instincts to save them, holding them in the air and calling Darth Vader a monster, an insult that Vader readily admitted to. He was the monster that the Jedi created, the monster that was about to fulfill his mission. With a clench of his fist, the dam's crucial structures began coming apart. It was too late for Kyrak to do anything to prevent catastrophe. The innocent people down below in the city ran for cover in a futile effort to escape, and Kyrak dropped any regard for his own safety to hold the dam together. Vader's mission was almost complete. He grabbed the lightsaber, the weapon he would make his own, and grabbed the Jedi by the throat. Kyrak begged Darth Vader not to kill the innocent people down below, but their lives were not Vader's concern. The dam finally collapsed, and the rushing water tore through the city, as Master Kyrak watched, and with a final command, Vader snapped, ending him. His body fell into the water, disappearing under the waves, and Vader stood victorious, at the cost of an entire city. He returned to his ship and contacted Emperor Palpatine with news of his success. Although Vader had his first lightsaber, it was still the weapon of a Jedi. The kyber crystal inside had to emit the crimson red light of the Sith. Palpatine ordered Vader to return to Mustafar, the planet where Anakin Skywalker died and Darth Vader was born. The planet had a strong connection to the dark side of the Force, and just below its surface, Darth Vader began disassembling the weapon. He removed the green kyber crystal and clenched it in his fist, attempting to pour his rage and hate into it, but a sudden burst of energy sent him tumbling as the crystal fought back, and something within Darth Vader re-emerged for just a moment.
What have I done?
It was Anakin Skywalker. Vader was hit with the realization of the horror and pain that he had caused, and the light that was hidden deeply within sparked to life. He was the chosen one of the Jedi, and yet he became the very thing he swore to destroy. Anakin understood that at this point he had lost everything, but there was still time to redeem himself and bring balance to the Force. Palpatine had to be removed from power. Anakin finished constructing the lightsaber and returned to Palpatine. Standing before the Emperor, he declared his loyalty to the Jedi, igniting the green saber in a raw display of rebellion. The Emperor was disgusted to see his creation fall back into his old ways, and he attacked Anakin without hesitation. He chose weakness, and he would be destroyed for his betrayal. The Emperor struck with surprising speed, but Anakin, the chosen one, had no choice but to succeed. He dodged every blow and struck with the efficiency of a Jedi warrior when he had an opening. The Emperor lay dead, now just a powerless corpse lying motionless in his old seat of power. But Anakin was lost. With no direction or purpose, it was time to seek out his old master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, for guidance and forgiveness. Obi-Wan had walked away from their duel alive and well, and Anakin knew that he was still out there somewhere, waiting for him. He finally found Obi-Wan, called out his name, and collapsed in front of him in anguish, helmetless. Obi-Wan looked at the being in front of him in horror, and realized that this was his old friend and Padawan. He turned off his saber and uttered his name, Anakin, and hearing Obi-Wan's voice again, elicited a deep anger within him. He He awoke suddenly within the cave where he had disassembled the lightsaber. The entire scenario was an illusion created by the crystal, showing Vader a future that could still be if he embraced Anakin Skywalker and abandoned the dark side. Vader was infuriated. More lies, more deception. The pain and suffering he felt was all that he had left. Anything else were the lies of the Jedi, lies of the light side of the Force, the weakness that was responsible for his loss to begin with. He grasped the kyber crystal and searched deep within his hatred. The crystal responded back strongly, reacting to the small shred of light it detected inside of him, but Vader resisted the pull of Anakin Skywalker. He remembered Mustafar, watching his old master leave him, suffering on the ground, burning and helpless as he walked away. He remembered the Jedi stealing him away from his mother and forbidding him from saving her. He remembered the smile of his wife and the excitement he felt when she carried his child, and the pain of losing them both. The lies of the Emperor, false promises of saving her. The pain of his memories was almost too much to bear, and the kyber crystal finally bled. Back on Coruscant, the Emperor awaited the return of his apprentice, surrounded by his royal guards, as he met with one of his regional governors, Wilhuff Tarkin and Masameda. Suddenly, the Emperor's royal guards were thrown against the window, disabled, and only Tarkin and Masameda remained. The two servants feared for the safety of the Emperor, but Palpatine assured them that he would be alright. Darth Vader stood before his master, and Palpatine waited for his apprentice to confirm his success. Vader ignited his blade, and the walls of Palpatine's office bathed in the crimson glow of a Sith lightsaber. And that is the story of Darth Vader's first lightsaber. If you'd like to support my work, I invite you to become a patron. There's multiple levels of support available. Or for an option right here on YouTube, you could become a channel member and gain access to exclusive badges and emojis for live streams and exclusive polls. Every dollar helps keep the wheels turning, and I'd like to thank my current patrons and channel members for their continued support. And if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And make sure you follow me on social media so you never miss a thing. I'll catch you guys later.